Discover La Jolla, where we showcase the jewel of San Diego, and that is La Jolla, California. I am very honored this morning to have Ann Kerr in the studio with us.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ann. Your track record is large and impressive as far as volunteering and helping the community of La Jolla.
Thank you.
You are in charge of the La Jolla Christmas Parade and Holiday Festival and have been for many years. This year, it's coming up on December 7th.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about the parade, the history of the parade, and for our viewers, what happens in La Jolla, California on this wonderful day.
Well, many years ago, when I first moved to La Jolla from Washington, D.C., the town council had a newsletter, old-fashioned printed newsletter, and there was a little blurb said, volunteers needed for the Christmas parade, call Gail Forbes.
Okay.
And I innocently responded to that ad and been volunteering
Ever
or
since?
otherwise ever since, yeah.
Okay.
And around 2011, I think it became clear because it developed into not only a Christmas parade but a holiday festival. So we created it was important to create a separate 501c3 foundation so we could raise money. The town council is a political organization, so and it was just getting so big. We were, committee chair of a committee that was the biggest activity. So it made sense, and we were had separate funds. So at about 2011 or 2012, we applied to the IRS, and at first were turned down because they didn't think we were a charitable foundation. But when I pointed out that 25% or so, at least back before the costs rose, was given to music programs so that the kids could participate in the parade. Each band got a stipend. And we try whenever we can. There are certain bands that need the
Some
resources more than
to get the whole operation
so
there.
we give stipends when I can raise some money.
I see. Okay.
And so that became the La Jolla Christmas Parade and Holiday Festival Foundation, of which I am currently president. As we got more involved in the arts and education and science, we created a DBA and then spun off a separate foundation called LJ STEAM, which is Science, Technology, Education, Arts, and Music.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that, but it has its own website, has its own activities. We've received a Google grant in the past for some of the work.
ljsteam.org?
Yes, ljsteam.org for work that I was doing in ocean modeling, et cetera.
Okay.
Anyway, getting back to the Christmas Parade and Holiday Festival, there's two elements to it. One is a classic parade, and the second is what's called the Holiday Festival, which has evolved over time. It started out being mostly entertainment at the end of the parade. Then after COVID, and as a matter of fact, we were the only group that managed to get a parade during COVID. The city gave me a permit 10 days before the parade date.
Wow. Oh, that wasn't stressful.
We had to put fencing, but the people had to get into cars. So we had to register names and phone numbers of everybody in a car.
Oh, my goodness.
They drove from Klein and Girard down Herschel, and the entries, Jolla Cava was right there, were lined up along the street, but spectators could not go. It had to be.
Yeah.
So it was quite an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So we managed to do it. And
Good.
we had
Congratulations.
Santa visits that were 6 feet apart.
Got it. All right.
However, that's the good news. The bad news is, that year we raised less than $20K because nobody thought we were going to have a parade.
Right. Yeah.
So we've been kind of carrying, and I do still have a parade bill that we pay on installment.
Okay.
If anybody wants to pay off my bills. Anyway, long story short, so that has evolved and lots of fun. We have 2 robotics clubs that just spread out all over Wall Street. Santa visits, thanks to Kiwanis, who's been a big supporter.
Yep.
We have, you make a reservation for a Santa visit within a certain 30-minute period so parents don't have to hang around and wait. Plus, it's a good way to be safe.
Yeah.
And the library, the museum, the Birch Aquarium, the Historical Society, they all participate. Sometimes they can't if they have another exhibit
How
going.
many people participate in the parade? More or less.
Okay, in the parade itself, my guess is between 2,000 and 2,500 people. Well, The Indian guides are almost 150 people,
Right.
and
You've
Los
got the
Patrones loves
brownies,
to show
you've
up,
got
right?
Girl
Okay.
Scouts,
Girl
you've
Scouts,
got
brownies, but
bands,
oh yes, we
all the
have
different
about
clubs,
14 bands.
surf
Yeah,
clubs.
and we have fabulous dance group from South Bay, mariachi and Mexican, which music has about 200 dancers. They're
Wow.
fabulous. And then Wind and Sea, of course, has
Yes.
multiple. I let them violate the rules
Yes,
of
'cause
more than one
one thing.
vehicle.
Yeah.
And we miss the old Mission Bay
Oh, that's
Club.
me.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that? Now you talk about a rookie move. That's one of them.
Mine's out there
Yeah,
silenced.
see? True professional right here. Non-rookie. All right, let's get back to it.
Okay. Anyway, long story short. So, what we try to do is make sure that the kids, the schools, and the traditional participants get to be in the parade because what has happened in the past is, and it's hard to believe, but some groups will just sign up for several parades and then at the last minute decide which one
they want to do.
which makes it difficult.
yeah.
Again, there's keywords about the parade: volunteers, volunteers, volunteers,
Okay.
and community support.
So if somebody
community
wants to help
donation.
volunteer,
Yes,
what do they
on
do?
our
Ann?
website, and I'll get to that, but our
Okay.
website is ljparade.com.
Okay.
And starting Monday, registration will be open.
Okay, good.
Also to volunteer and we will be contacting people. The holiday festival really has to be more of an invitation only because we're limited to half a block on Wall Street.
Okay.
And we like to give community organizations. We don't do much as I would love to have the revenue for the Art and Wine Festival. We don't do that. We just don't have the room or the people.
Okay.
Literally, the entire parade. On parade day, probably the number of volunteers is 30 at the most.
Okay.
And that's managing. One year we had 80 horses. We
Right.
usually have a dozen floats. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of what I call it is a hurry up and wait kind of event, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of fun. But in any case, getting back to the arts and education, the robotics, et cetera. This year we're experimenting and we are looking at adding a holiday festival element at the end of the parade, which would be something like pony rides and jumpy jumps. If we
Down at the recreation
down
center.
at the
where
rec
it
center,
ends.
and so Santa starts his visits at 11:30.
Okay.
And by the way, that's a fixed rule in the parade. There's only one Santa, and many years ago, I won't mention the group, but you could probably guess, had a Santa on their truck, right? And so Mike Carlin, who's the parade director, the Carlin family, the parade couldn't happen without them. Anyway, he gets on the radio and tells me, we've got a problem. There's a Santa. Yeah, okay, Mike.
Multiple Santas.
Yeah, exactly. So I look up and there's a truck and there's a Santa costume. And I said, I'm sorry, but you have to take off your costume. There can only be one Santa. And so the truck kept going, right? So I walked up to it and I put my foot at the tire and I said, get out. You cannot have more than one Santa. Santa costume goes off. Okay. Next day, I heard feedback. People wanted to know who was that awful lady who hollered at Santa.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Who's the Grinch, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it confuses kids.
Yeah. Okay.
Another thing that's been in the parade forever is the old Black Goose.
Oh,
And
yeah. From the Kellogg Black Goose
that's
and
right.
Beach Club.
It's a 1928 Packard. And last year and the year before, it was hard to get drivers, but this year Bill has pulled the rabbit out of the
good.
hat. So he will be drawing up Santa. So
for
Santa
Bill.
starts the visits at Bill is unbelievable. Santa starts a visit at 11:30, stops when the parade stops, and this year we will go back to our tradition where he'd sit at the rec center and kids can come see him there.
Okay.
Now, in terms of this event and it's about 69th year. When I first got involved, I went to the Historical Society and read up everything I could. And the first Christmas celebration in La Jolla, Ellen Browning Scripps put a Christmas tree out on the beach cliffs down by the ocean because she was paying for the rec center to be built. And as soon as the rec center was built, there's a picture, and it was on one of our posters. They brought in a tree, if anybody's familiar with New York City tree, as big as that. And on Saturday night, there was a choral group, and that was 1923, something like that. Anyway, the parade went on, stopped during the wars, etc. And after World War II, this information comes from June Barrymore Ash, who has since passed, but her husband, Bob Barrymore, was president of the Historical Society but also president of the International Classic Car Collections and the Domestic. So, as she told the story around early 1950, after the war, I think around the time that George Dewhurst was building the cross, he said there ought to be a parade again. And so he lined up his buddies, and on Saturday night, I'm pretty sure with refreshments, which we do not have, they drove decorated cars down the street. So that reinvigorated the parade.
Got it. And that's how it got going again.
Right. Then in the 70s, there was a movement, from what I can understand and read, to change the name to Holiday Parade. And that's what they did. But unfortunately, they had no volunteers. And so there was years where there was no parade. And so my understanding is about 1982, I believe it was a Kiwanis member, but not sure about that, said, we need to have a parade. And so many of the volunteers, like the Collin family, Gail Forbes, those people started volunteering when their kids were in Stella Morris, and that was like 1982. So they've been involved since then. And then when their kids graduated, they'd had so much fun building floats, they started just working on the parade.
It is really a magical day. I mean, I participated in the parade. I've had my car in there. We always have so much fun, but it's a great event for families to come to and people to come observe, and to get everybody together in one spot on Girard and turn left on Prospect at the end.
Exactly. And Jocelyn Vortman is a 3-generation family. And they're great supporters of the parade, which we appreciate. But I get these great stories from people who've, been in it forever.
Years and years and years.
So every year we just choose a theme. And the theme this year is There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays.
All right.
And, what we're trying to remind people that while we all might have our differences, whatever, we're fundamentally a community that works together and
should
prides
come
themselves
together a few times a year.
Exactly.
And celebrate each other.
Yeah. But one of the key things is we always have a float judging contest. And usually just the kids, but some adults like to be judged. But the criteria, if you will, is how well it fits the theme. So
I see.
There's kind of a bifurcation you could do this year. One would be Home for the Holidays, a la the 40s movies or something.
Yeah.
And the other could be Wizard of Oz with the, a golden ruby slippers, right? So we have some tremendous marshals. We always honor people in the community. And I usually wait to announce those marshals until a little bit later. But we have a grand marshal, we have an education marshal, cultural, traditional, military. UCSD has joined in the last couple of years, which is fabulous, and choose an education marshal from there. Pradeep has been the camp chancellor. But, their cheer group comes, their band comes, it's probably 200 and some odd people. It's terrific, right? And the military, Mount Soledad Memorial, we've honored them a number of times. This year, it's the 250th anniversary of the Navy/Marines, and I hope I got that right. So we are hoping to honor that. But in the past, it's been the general in charge of the Air Wing at Miramar, Camp Pendleton, MCRD, that kind of thing. And Ronnie Froman, Admiral Froman, when she was in the Navy. In terms of cultural and civic, it's people who are constantly contributing to the beauty of La Jolla and just watching. And I will say, I'm not announcing the Grand Marshal, but Bill Robbins, everybody knows, goes along the beach every single day cleaning up, and we're honoring him as a community marshal. And
you have announcers. I had Ron Jones in here a few weeks ago, and he said he might be one of your announcers this year.
And the other thing we're going to try this year, and let me back up for just a second. So the end of August, I had very little money in the bank. In fact, I paid the rent that month, right? And so I knew that I had to make a business decision. And so our Christmas angel in the past, Diane Basher, came to our rescue last year.
Thank you, Diane.
And, unbelievable. And this year, I put together the whole budget, which is, it's hard to believe, but it's like $120,000. The parade day alone last year was almost 50 by the time you count all the things you have to do. But porta potties used to be $2,000 and they're $5,000.
Right.
And the city has all these extra
things.
requirements, and the parade estimate of police is like over $11,000
Just for
year.
the day.
Just for the day, from
Wow.
8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
That's something most people wouldn't even think about.
Exactly. And in the old days, when they allowed off-duty police officers to earn extra, it would cost a lot less. Okay.
Of course.
But prices are going up.
Everything's gone up.
Okay. Fencing is $5,000. Frail fencing that you can roll up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we appreciate, but we
need a lot of money to make the parade go down.
We have had a sterling record of no accidents whatsoever, unless one horse, the lady slipped off side saddle and it ran back to its trailer, but didn't touch anybody.
All right.
And an antique tractor kind of rolled into.
That's pretty amazing, actually,
when you consider
to think about that, with all the floats, the children, the dancers,
exactly,
the people playing the drums, the different old cars they're probably running for one time a year.
Oh, we've had
plenty of cars breaking down. That there's not a major incident. That's incredible.
And especially when you consider what a small footprint we have. So all we're allowed to do is close Girard from Torrey Pines to Prospect, and then Prospect to the Rec Center.
To the Rec Center,
and then Herschel and Klein.
Are your staging.
Right. And so everything has to be staged that way. The other thing too is things you don't think about until you're doing it. You never put horses in front of kids' little things. Right. Although Guerrilla Services is terrific. They follow the horses and clean up right away. But there's a band noise and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Cameron Highlanders have been participating forever. The key thing, though, is I want to make sure, and went to Diane at the end of August, and within a week, she gave us a donation that was incredibly generous, that allowed us to then start building the software, which will now go online Monday. Okay. So on Monday, the website will have open public registration. Now, we are sending out notification to key groups like the schools or whatever to give them a heads up, because often one parent is a contact one year and it's somebody else the next year. So we don't want them, to not
miss anybody.
But it's a 30-day registration period and no extensions. But, people will get personal emails and all that. Okay. So that's happening in the registration. So I also want to recognize the continuing donation. Jack McGrory, Bill Kellogg, our parade chairs. Yes. And as you know, they help out amazing in the community.
Yes, they are.
And Jack created a founders circle a few years ago. And so Darlene Shiley, Papa Doug, La Valencia, Jack, and a couple other organizations, depending on what they can do in a given year. Mm-hmm. But those have been doing it now for a number of years.
And years.
Yeah, exactly. And the Vortman family, John Donaldson and Karen Donaldson, Zuckerman's. I don't want to mention too many names because I don't want to
forget anybody.
But the point is,
there's a lot of people helping.
Interesting fact is, the majority of our donations are less than a few $100s. No, we just get lots of community support.
Yeah, a little smaller donations, but they add up.
They add up, and it shows. It also makes us feel good that the community supports this
and recognizes it as a valuable event.
We don't get any funds from the city government, unlike other parades, but that's okay because this is a La Jolla community. Now, the participation is not just La Jolla. It's from South Bay to North County to East Bay.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. There's probably a third of the entries come from
other
South
areas.
Bay and up. Yeah. Southwest Middle School has been coming for years with their steel drums. Keith Ballard retired last year, unfortunately, but he's going to volunteer this year with the bands. The Royal Regiment, the University City Band.
Wow, so it's really affecting all these other communities outside La Jolla.
Oh, absolutely. Totally.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Yes, and donations come from. And the other thing, too, is it's not, it is a multicultural, open to everybody. So it doesn't, I've had Muslim webmasters, we've had we had the atheists actually registered one year, and I put them in the parade, and they backed out the morning of the parade because they said, well, we just did it to prove that it wasn't open. Gotcha.
That's funny. Okay.
So, but one of the things that we've wrestled with, we want to keep it free to everybody. Okay, but the costs are just going nuts.
So we need to raise money.
I need about 45 or so K before
So if our viewers want to donate, where
please
should they go?
Go online to ljparade.com, and you can do it through online, or you can write a check and put it in the mail.
Okay.
And one time I got $10 bill from somebody.
Got it. Okay.
I'll take any money, and you'll get an IRS. But one thing we're playing with, and we're part of the complexity of the system, is that because people would come up to me and say, hey, if I make a donation of $1,000, can I get my grandkid or my kid in the first division? And I'd say, hey, we don't pay to play.
Yeah.
However, this year we thought, well, let's try it. So we've put in the option when you're registering, if somebody wants to get a tax-deductible donation, we did it 1,000, 900, and 800, which scares me because that seems so high. But for 1,000, you get a $950 donation, IRS, all approved, and that allows your group to be in the first division. Okay?
I see. How many divisions are there?
There are about 5 divisions, but we're only doing it for the first 3.
I see.
Okay.
And
divisions are kind of we used to call it hard divide, but now it's more like, how many different entries do we have, and that kind of thing. And Santa Claus is always the last. Okay.
All right.
Because he ends the parade.
He ends the parade.
And so we'll see how that works. And it's a way to get revenue without having to charge an entry fee.
Great.
So,
well, it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of coordination. You got a lot of moving parts.
Absolutely.
Costs are going up.
Oh, yeah.
It's an important event that's been going on for decades and decades in La Jolla, bringing La Jolla together and even bringing other communities into La Jolla.
Absolutely.
So first of all, thank you for everything you're doing.
One anecdote, though, when we talk about, is this just a Christmas parade?
Yeah.
No. And so one of the first years we started on Wall Street, and we had a Christmas tree in our menorah because it happened to be close. When it's close to Hanukkah,
Yeah.
And both of them got stolen before I could go back. So we're an equal opportunity event. So, but the key thing is the people who volunteer, the people who donate money, the businesses, Bowers Jewelers, Warwick's, Adelaide's,
right?
Those 3 and La Valencia.
Yeah.
They've been supporting Park La Jolla Apartments.
Yep.
They have been supporting this parade for more than 30 or 40 years, and it couldn't happen without that kind of community support.
No, that's so true. I mean, I know that I've reached out to Bowers for different things through La Jolla High School and their theater, and it's wonderful to have those businesses that are really, I think, the foothold of the village, still there, still participating, and still. Well, thank you, Ann. It was a pleasure having you on. I'm looking forward to the 7th.
Okay.
I'm going to register my car, and we're going to be in the parade.
Don't forget to decorate it.
I won't. And it's going to be a great event. Thanks for coming in and sharing.
You. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode of Discover La Jolla.